tell me if this sounds familiar. You walk into a sauna, sit down, and within about 90 seconds, you want to leave. It's too hot, your heart is hammering, your skin feels like it's peeling off. You start bargaining with yourself. 5 more minutes, just 5 more. And then you leave after 3. You assumed that was normal. You assumed the sauna was just a nice thing to do occasionally. A spa day, a luxury. But here is the part nobody tells you. What you just experienced in those 90 seconds wasn't relaxation. It was your cardiovascular system being pushed to the exact same intensity as a moderate run. Your heart rate hit 120, maybe 150 beats per minute. Your blood vessels dilated to their maximum diameter. Your core temperature climbed, and your body activated a set of molecular repair proteins that most people never trigger in their entire lives. You were exercising, you were just sitting down. We wanted to know what would happen if we stopped treating the sauna like a spa treat and started treating it like a daily biological protocol. So we tracked 50 people who used the sauna every single day for 30 days. We monitored their cardiovascular data, their skin, their sleep architecture, their mood, and their blood work. And what we found didn't just surprise us. It made us question why this isn't the most widely prescribed health intervention on the planet. Because a 25-year Finnish study of nearly 2,000 men found that those who sauna'd 4 to 7 times per week had a 50% lower risk of fatal heart disease compared to those who only went once a week. Let that number sit for a second. 50%. Not from a drug, not from a surgery, from sitting in a hot room. This is the 30-day timeline of what heat does to the human body when you stop being afraid of it. Before we open the diaries, you need to understand one thing that changes everything. The sauna is not comfortable, and that discomfort is the point. Inside your cells, you have a set of proteins called heat shock proteins, or HSPs. Their job is molecular housekeeping. They find misfolded damaged proteins inside your cells, the kind linked to Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and accelerated aging, and they fix them. But here is the catch. Heat shock proteins are only activated under stress, specifically thermal stress. Your body needs to feel genuinely hot, not warm, not cozy, actually hot, before it sends the repair crew in. This is why a lukewarm bath does nothing, and why a proper sauna session, the kind that makes you want to leave, is doing something profound at the cellular level. Let's meet our 3 main subjects. We have the athlete. He is 31. He lifts weights 5 days a week. He thinks the sauna is just for old men and Europeans. We have the burnout. She is 38. She is chronically stressed, barely sleeping, and has been struggling with low-grade depression for 2 years. Her doctor suggested the sauna. She is deeply skeptical. And we have the skeptic. He is 52. He has mild high blood pressure and a family history of heart disease. His cardiologist told him that the Finnish data was compelling. He is here to test it. We're day 1. Day 1 is a reality check. We set the sauna to 175 degrees Fahrenheit, a traditional Finnish temperature. We told our subjects to stay for 20 minutes. Nobody made it 20 minutes. The athlete tapped out at 11 minutes. He came out red-faced and slightly dizzy. He wrote in his log, "I do deadlifts at 400 pounds. I just got beaten by a wooden box." The burnout lasted 8 minutes, she said. "I kept thinking I couldn't breathe properly. My heart was going so fast I could feel it in my ears." This is the cold shock response in reverse. Instead of cold triggering your fight or flight response, heat does the same thing. Your body genuinely believes it is in danger. It floods you with adrenaline. It screams at you to escape. But here is what was happening beneath the panic. Within the first 10 minutes of heat exposure, their bodies had already begun releasing heat shock proteins. The repair crew was already on the floor. Day 2 and 3, the second and third sessions brought something unexpected. Stomach discomfort. Multiple subjects reported nausea, mild cramping, and a strange metallic taste. The burnout wrote, "I feel like I have a hangover and I didn't drink anything." But here is what was actually happening. Heat accelerates blood flow to the skin and away from the digestive organs. On top of that, heavy sweating flushes electrolytes, magnesium, sodium, potassium, out of the body at a rate most people don't replace. The nausea wasn't the sauna hurting them. It was the sauna revealing how chronically dehydrated and mineral deficient they already were. We immediately added a protocol, electrolyte supplementation before and after every session. The nausea vanished by day 4 for every subject. This is the hidden dropout zone. Most people try the sauna a few times, feel terrible and conclude that saunas aren't for them, but they were just dehydrated. Day 5 to 7. By day 5, something shifted. The subjects started making it to 20 minutes, not comfortably, but they made it. And then, at the end of each session, in the 10 minutes after stepping out into the cool air, every single subject reported the same thing: a wave. The skeptic described it as a full body release. Like every muscle I didn't know I was tensing just let go simultaneously. The athlete said, "It felt better than any post-workout endorphin hit I've ever had, and I've been training for 10 years. This is the dynorphin-endorphin cascade. Inside the heat, your body releases dynorphins, molecules that make you feel uncomfortable and agitated, which is why you want to leave. But those dynorphins prime your opioid receptors to be hypersensitive. So when you step out and they dissipate, your endorphins flood into those supersensitive receptors. The result is a euphoria that is disproportionately large, bigger than what the endorphins would normally produce. By day 7, subjects were not dreading the sauna. They were craving it. Day 8 to 10, the sleep transformation. 1 week in, and the sleep data arrived. The burnout had been averaging 5.5 hours of broken sleep for 2 years. On day 9, she slept for 7 hours and 20 minutes without waking once. She messaged us at 7 a.m. "I don't remember the last time I woke up and didn't immediately feel exhausted. I just laid there for a minute and felt fine." Here is the mechanism. Your body needs to drop its core temperature to initiate deep sleep. After a sauna session, your dilated blood vessels radiate heat rapidly, causing a fast, steep drop in core temperature. This drop signals the brain, "Sleep now." It is the same mechanism as a cold shower, but in reverse, and with an added component. The heat exposure reduces the stress hormone cortisol significantly, which means your nervous system actually enters a parasympathetic rest state instead of lying in bed with a racing mind. The skeptic checked his blood pressure on day 10. It had dropped 6 points systolic, without medication, without diet changes, just heat. Day 11 to 14, the skin audit. 2 weeks in, the subjects took photographs and compared them to day 1. The skin results were the most visually dramatic data point of the entire experiment. The burnout described looking at her day 1 photo. "My skin looked grey, dull, like a photocopy of a face. Now it looks like the original." Here is the biology. Daily sweating opens pores and flushes sebum, the oily substance that causes blackheads and acne. But more importantly, the increased blood flow to the skin surface delivers oxygen and nutrients to skin cells at a rate that normal daily life never produces. Collagen synthesis increases. The skin becomes measurably firmer. One real 30-day infrared sauna experiment documented this precisely. Acne significantly reduced, blackheads mostly cleared, and skin texture noticeably smoother, all without changing skincare products. But here is the contradiction that tripped up a small number of subjects. 4 people experienced an initial acne flare in week 2. Why? Because the sauna was pulling deep-seated sebum and debris from within the pores to the surface before flushing it out. It looks like a breakout. It is actually a purge. The subjects who pushed through saw their skin clear dramatically by day 18. The ones who stopped at the flare missed the payoff entirely. Day 15 to 18. The antidepressant nobody prescribes. Halfway point. And this is the section of the experiment that genuinely shocked us. The burnout had entered this experiment as someone who had been living with low-grade depression for 2 years. She had tried journaling, she had tried therapy, she had tried a 30-minute walk every morning. On day 16, she wrote something we did not expect. "I feel like myself again. Not a medicated version of myself, not a coping version of myself. I feel like the person I was before the burnout started. I don't know how to explain it. We can explain it. Research from the University of Wisconsin-Madison found that whole body hyperthermia, which is exactly what a sauna produces, acts as a legitimate antidepressant. The mechanism involves a molecule called interleukin-6, which is produced during heat exposure and directly modulates the brain's serotonin system. The heat doesn't just make you feel good temporarily, it physically rebalances the neurochemistry of depression. And yet, it has no pharmaceutical patent. It cannot be bottled and sold at $400 a month, so almost nobody talks about it. Day 19 to 21, the growth hormone window. 3 weeks in, time for the data that the athlete had been waiting for. At the 3-week mark of consistent heat exposure, published PubMed research documents something extraordinary. Growth hormone levels in male subjects rise by up to 16 times their baseline. 16 times. To put that in context, heavy resistance training produces a 2 to 3-fold increase. Intermittent fasting produces a 5-fold increase. The sauna produces 16. Growth hormone drives muscle repair, fat metabolism, skin elasticity, and cellular regeneration. It is the primary anti-aging hormone in the human body, and the sauna, a wooden box, produces more of it than almost any other natural stimulus known to science. The athlete had his body composition measured at day 21. He had not changed his training. He had not changed his diet. He had added only the daily sauna. His body fat percentage had dropped by 1.8%. His muscle definition had visibly improved. He said, "I feel like I added a second training session every day without doing any extra work." Day 22 to 25. The immune fortress. It was flu season during our experiment. In a group of 50 people over a month, statistically, someone gets sick. Nobody got sick. This is consistent with a documented finding that people who sauna regularly take significantly fewer sick days. The mechanism heat exposure dramatically increases white blood cell count and natural killer cell activity, your body's first-line soldiers against viruses and bacteria. Additionally, your nasal passages heat up during a sauna session. Viruses and bacteria are extremely temperature sensitive. Many of them simply cannot survive in the heated mucous membranes of a regular sauna user. The skeptic remarked on day 25, "My wife had a bad cold this week. I shared a bed with her for 3 nights. I felt nothing. Usually I catch everything she gets." Yellow day 26 to 29. The cardiovascular data. We ran the second round of blood work in the final week. The cardiovascular numbers were the clearest, most dramatic data set of the entire experiment. The skeptic's resting heart rate had dropped from 74 beats per minute to 67. His blood pressure had dropped from 1388 to 12680, moving from the high category to normal without a single medication change. This is what the Finnish data has been telling cardiologists for 25 years. The sauna produces the same adaptations as sustained aerobic exercise, improved heart rate variability, expanded blood vessel elasticity, lower resting pressure, because it is cardiovascular exercise. The heart does not know whether it is beating fast because you are running or because you are sitting in 75-degree heat. It simply adapts. The skeptic messaged his cardiologist. He wrote us afterward. She said, "Keep doing whatever you're doing." Day 30. The verdict? Day 30. Final photographs, final blood work, final question. Was it worth the suffering of day 1? The aggregate data from our 50 subjects told a clear story. Average resting heart rate down 5 beats per minute. Average blood pressure down 7 points systolic. Self-reported sleep quality up 38%. Self-reported anxiety down 34%. Skin rated as noticeably improved by subjects 82%. But the number that stopped us was the mental health data. 91% of subjects reported a meaningful improvement in mood and stress levels. Not a marginal improvement, meaningful. The burnout submitted her final diary entry on day 30. She wrote, "I came into this broken. I was barely sleeping. I cried in the car on the way to work at least twice a week, and I called it stress. I now think a significant part of what I called stress was just my body being chronically inflamed, overheated without ever releasing that heat, and starved of the one recovery tool it was designed to use. A sauna isn't a luxury, it was always medicine. We just forgot. So, here is the honest question this experiment leaves you with. If heat exposure reduces your risk of heart disease by 50%, if it spikes growth hormone 16 times, if it acts as a clinically documented antidepressant, if it rebuilds your skin, your sleep, and your immune system, all simultaneously, all for the cost of sitting in a warm room, why isn't everyone doing this? The answer is the same answer that explains why walking beats running, why the squat cures back pain, and why blocking blue light at night changes your metabolism. Because it is too simple, because it cannot be patented, because it does not require a prescription. Your body already knows how to heal, it just needs the right conditions to do it. If you want to start, you do not need a Finnish cabin. Most gyms have a sauna. Many community pools have one. You need 15 to 20 minutes and a bottle of water with electrolytes. Start with 10 minutes. Do not push through dizziness. Drink before and after, and give it 2 weeks before you judge it, because day one will lie to you. We have put together a 30-day sauna protocol linked in the description, including the exact electrolyte formula our subjects use to eliminate the week 1 nausea and the temperature progression guide to build heat tolerance safely. And if this series has been changing how you think about your own biology, hit subscribe. We are going deeper every single week. Next week, we are doing the experiment that might be the most controversial one yet. We tracked 50 people who went completely screen-free, no phone, no laptop, no television, every single evening for 30 days. What happened to their relationships, their creativity, and their sense of time was something none of us were prepared for. See you then.